talk about Oregon Ducks football. We have a huge rematch against the Indiana Hoosiers with Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza. All right, Dale, I want to first talk about how well the Orange Bowl was an interesting game.
It was. The defense played great. The offense couldn't get out of its own way.
I mean, 215 yards of total offense. The quarterback. Did you see the press conference with the Texas Tech quarterback? Devastated.
I I did not. What did he say?
He was crying his eyes out. He did not have a good game at all. Oh, Baron Morton threw for 137 yards. I mean, they couldn't get anything going on offense. You should have won like 50-0 that game. I mean,
The offense squandered a lot of opportunities. They played the entire game on Texas Tech's side of the field, pretty much. Had a lot of opportunities to score. They did not cash in. And if they do that against Indiana, the Hoosiers will kill them.
kill him. Now, Jordan Davidson reportedly played with a broken collarbone, and which they said he was playing with. I don't know how I guess the adrenaline. Do you think not? Now you got Noah Whittington, you got De'Air Hill, and then Jay Stewart, who's in the transfer portal. Do you think he's going to get? They're going to count on him to play in the game?
Jay Harris.
Oh, Jay Harris. My bad.
Jay Harris,
My bad.
who transferred last year from Northwest Missouri State. At the Division II level, he was an All-American, rushed for 1,433 yards. He's 6'2", 235, a big back, a muscled guy, good straight-ahead runner, takes good care of the football. So, yeah, they're counting on him to play some snaps, probably see him in pass protection a little bit because he's a little bigger. And one of the problems with Indiana, one of the reasons they'll miss Jordan Davison is that he was their best pass blocker among the running backs.
Okay.
So it's nice to have a big guy to stick in there. And obviously there's some other solutions they can attempt. But yeah, Harris is RB3 for this game, and it's his chance to showcase himself as he has already entered the transfer portal.
This is the thing that I wanted to talk to you about. So Stein is gone. Stein is in Kentucky. So Stein is doing Oregon's job, which he says he said a good show where did a good talk where he said, "I'm playing for this Oregon gave me the opportunity. I'm doing both jobs." How's he doing the Oregon job plus Kentucky plus the transfer portal and the Cal and your defensive coordinator, right, is going to Cal. So you have both guys who are trying to start. How is that even happening? It's a mess.
It is a mess. And the first thing it points to, JD, is that the college football calendar is all screwed up. It needs to be reworked so that the playoffs occur in December in 4 straight weekends on Saturdays. The first 2 rounds at home stadiums, and the playoffs concluding on January 1st at the Rose Bowl at the national championship game. That would be the intelligent way to do it. That way
Agreed.
You can run the portal in January, and it won't conflict with the NFL playoffs, and you'll gain audience share that way. It only makes sense. But the way they do it now, they ask coaches to do the impossible. If their teams are in the playoffs, they've got to juggle the coaching carousel. They've got to deal with kids entering the portal, and they've got to work on recruiting and getting their stuff together all at one time. It's nuts. Now Dan Lanning did the very same thing as defensive coordinator at Georgia in 2021. He was hired December 2021 at Oregon while Georgia was still in the playoffs, and he helped take them all the way to a national championship game while serving as Georgia defensive coordinator and running the Oregon program. Yes, the coordinators and is a little bit scary for
Yeah, I mean,
fans.
I just feel first of all, you're not sleeping, and second of all, now I was going to go through each player. Did Oregon lose anybody to the transfer portal of any consequence? They didn't lose it. Did they lose any guys that were
Well, uh, it's more a matter of the numbers, JD. They lost 14 guys to the portal so far, and it isn't over for them. I mean, if they make it to the championship game, if they happen to do that, the players would get an extension all the way to something like January 25th to enter the portal. So far, they had 14 guys enter the portal. And the real concern is that has been concentrated in two areas, a defensive back and a running back. Jaleel Florence is in the portal. Dakota Fields is in the portal. They've already got new locations. Kingston Lopa is joining Tosh Lupoy at Cal. So it gets a little bit crazy. They've lost six defensive backs and three running backs to the portal. And after a while, you start to look at your depth chart and say, well, we're okay as long as nobody gets hurt. And football is a collision sport. Somebody always gets hurt.
right? Right. So are you concerned of any? I mean, besides running back, is there any other positions you're concerned about depth right now going into the last? Because I'm going to say last two games. I'm being positive that they got two more games left in the year.
Yes, back is the area. Sion Lalea is in the portal. Jaleel Florence is in the portal. Uh, Lopa is in the portal. Altogether, six guys. And, you just worry that if somebody gets dinged up, you'll have to have somebody play out of position or, it'll limit your options. And Indiana has three really good outside receivers in Omar Cooper, Elijah
Right.
Surratt. Those are the two you know about. The other guy is Charlie Baker,
Becker.
who is
Becker. Is
six
it
foot
Becker?
four.
Beck. Right.
Becker,
Becker.
Becker. I'm
Right.
sorry. Thank you.
No, I mean
Yes.
it's crazy.
Yeah, but Becker's, he's averaging 20.4 yards a catch. He's 6'4", and he's really come on in the last half of the season. He's had three 100-yard games. So you start to try and get all those guys covered, and you're down some bodies. Yeah, it's a concern.
And that's the thing too. I mean, Cooper made that catch against Penn State, one of the greatest catches I ever saw in my life, and he got both feet in. Becker is just like he reminds me like I'm dating myself, but like Largent. He just gets open. He had a phenomenal game against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Listen, I was going on and off at that game. I was watching because the Rose Bowl game, but they just beat the crap out of Bama. I mean, that was ugly. It was never a game. I mean, they benched their quarterback who's going what Ty Simpson is going to the draft. That's another thing I wanted to talk about with you. Are you con- Now this is what I want. Okay, so my friend Milton, we were talking, and he feels that like a guy like Dante Moore, I said he should stay another year. He says, well, he's not going to get any better. He'll get to the NFL and he'll get great coaching and I'm like, well, I think he should stay another year. He goes, well, what's it going to matter for him if he stays another year or if he goes pro now? He's not going to improve that much. I mean, but I said there's been busts. Well, he goes, well, those are guys were busts before. I don't necessarily agree with that because I looked at Mendoza was 9-11 in starts at Cal. Now Cal wasn't a great team, and he goes to Indiana and he wins the Heisman. So, do you feel Dante? I feel like it's such a weak class that there's no way Dante is not going to the NFL draft. A lot of stuff I just
Financially,
said.
yeah, okay. Financially, it makes good sense for him to go. I mean, he can go right now and get a really good payday, something in the neighborhood of $50 million on a 4-year contract with a $32 million signing bonus. And he can get that right now today. In terms of his development, I mean, he's situation where he may go to the New York Jets, for
Right.
great a totally wrecked organization. And then the other thing is that he needs more development. He has a total of, let's see, 14 this year and 5 as a freshman. He's had 19 college
Right.
so uh, the research shows that guys do best at the next level with somewhere between 25 and 34 college starts. You think of all the greats. You think of, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. They were 4-year college guys. And so much of the time, guys rush to the NFL because they want to make the big money. But he can make pretty big money
Yes.
in college right now. He'll get a contract of $3 to $4 million to return to the Ducks, and another year to improve his recognition, his ability to read defenses, his poise under pressure. Dante Moore has terrific arm talent. He's got a great attitude, a great motor. He's intelligent, but he needs another year. It would benefit him a lot to return to school. The program can pay for insurance to cover him against catastrophic injury, and in the
Right.
meantime, he'll develop more as a quarterback and face more of those big games. But it's his decision, and you can make a case for either decision.
What okay, so that's one thing I want that. What's your gut telling you? And then I wanted to ask you another question. 8 NFL openings now. 8. You think Dan Lanning will be enticed? Have you heard anything about him being enticed about the NFL? Because that's what I
He,
was going to ask you about.
he has said previously, JD, that when he was younger, the NFL was a temptation for him, a goal of his, but much less so now. He has 3 boys that are in school, and he's made a commitment family that he wants to be a while, at least until they're finished with school. I think Lanning won't be a really viable or serious NFL candidate. And the league has kind of soured a bit on taking college coaches, but I don't think he'll be a serious candidate until Andy Reid retires at Kansas City. That'd be a return home. He's from Southeast Missouri. He grew up a Chiefs fan. That would be the golden opportunity for him,
Wow.
and he'd be embraced there as a Missouri guy. But I don't really see that happening in the near future. I think Lanning is very stable, very grateful for the opportunity to Oregon, and I expect him to stay long term.
And you know what? That's interesting you said about the Chiefs because I think it would be a wise move for him to wait for Reed to retire, let someone else get the job, get fired, and then he becomes the guy. Then he becomes the savior. Because I don't think I'd want to replace Reed. Like DeBoer replacing Saban. It's an open situation. You're never going to be as good. And and he's done well there. I mean, they went to the playoff. They won a playoff game. But I feel like I would not want to be the guy replacing Reed. Yeah, I was curious what you thought about that with the eight openings. Now, okay, so how do you feel now going? After because the Texas Tech game was kind of like, all right, defense played great. I mean, what's his name? The Texas Tech. Who's their lead guy? It's Bailey had a phenomenal. Was in the backfield. Then he got kicked out. I think. Did he get kicked out? Someone got kicked out at the end of the game. They were getting pissed off. I don't know if it was Bailey. I thought someone got kicked. I could be wrong, but how do you say his name? That strip sack of that strip by what's his name? DJ's younger brother was how do you say his name?
Uyunglele. Uyunglele.
Dale. He took the ball, stacked him, ripped, and then the ball was pressed against the quarterback, and he had the wherewithal to just like, okay, I'm going to take it, and then the quarterback is the one who tackled him at the end, and he lost the ball for a second, and I mean that was one of the craziest plays I ever saw. That was like something that T.J. Watt, Aaron Donald would have done, or J.J. Watt. That was one of the best plays I ever saw. I mean, that was phenomenal.
It really was. I mean, it was incredibly athletic. He literally snatched the ball off the quarterback's back, and then once he got it, he churned to the 6-yard line like a fullback. It,
Right,
it
he
was
did.
he got to the quarterback working through a hold. I mean, the guy was grabbing
Yeah,
him the
he
whole
was.
way.
He was.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole thing was just remarkably athletic, and that shows, what Uiagalelei can do at 6'5", 272. Yeah, he's a premium athlete.
I've noticed too, watching the college games, more every play that there's a big run. Someone's jersey is being pulled. It's not even you could see them being held, and you're like, guys. I mean, and I saw there was a play in the Oregon game where the ref, the side judge, came running in. I'm like, dude, you don't know where the ball was. He comes running and puts the ball. I think they didn't get a. There was a third. There wasn't a right. They kept going for it on fourth down. There was a lot of crazy plays Oregon was doing, leaving points on the board. He said he should have went for the field goal, going for a fourth down. I think I would think against Indiana they're not going to be that. Who knows? I mean, do you see a low? I don't see a low scoring game. What's your gut telling you about the game?
That's interesting. You've got two good offenses and two disruptive defenses, and games like that sometimes can really defeat your expectations. You think they're going to go one way and they go the other, but certainly with the receiver talent that Indiana has and two good running backs, it really does look like a game, as you say, where Oregon's going to have to score to keep up with them. That there'll be some stops, but stops will be hard to come by.
Right.
So, so yeah, a game in the I think the over under in the game is something like 45, but a game in the 33 to 28 range seems really possible with these two teams.
And the Ducks only ran for against Texas Tech 3.8 yards per play, 1.4 yards per rush. They ran for 64 yards in the game, and in the first half, didn't he completed 22 passes in the first half, Dante, but it seemed like you looked at the stats. I mean, he was moving the ball. I don't think Dante played a bad game. I thought the one interception was more on his wide receiver than on him. He threw to the spot and his wide receiver wasn't there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's the offensive line. Texas Tech physical dudes up front, and so does Indiana.
Right.
So the offensive line for Oregon has got to play a much cleaner and more consistent game against the Hoosiers than they did against the Red Raiders, or Oregon is sunk.
Right. 4 for 19 on third downs. But this is a one since they lost the game to Indiana, they held 6 of their 8 opponents to 16 points or less. And that was Dante Moore's third Big Ten start. You know what? I almost feel like that was like, okay, they lost 30-24. Things didn't go right. I actually didn't see. I saw highlights. I didn't watch the game. Were they ever ahead in that game, or were they behind the whole game?
They tied it 20-20 in the fourth quarter when Brandon Finney intercepted a pass and returned it 34 yards for a touchdown. But Indiana responded by going on a 6.5 minute drive, 75 yards, 12 plays for a go-ahead touchdown, and then with the Ducks feeling a little bit desperate, Moore threw a second pick, his second of the game, and that was it. Indiana turned that into a field goal and won 30-20. So it was close in the early part of the fourth quarter, but
Okay.
the Hoosiers dominated from there on, which, their big strength as a team, and they have many of them, but one of their biggest strengths is that they're a veteran, mature team. They average something like 23 and a half years old. They average 25 years old. So it's
Right.
really crazy how mature they are. And Kurt Nettie and his coaching staff made that a priority. They gravitate toward disciplined, mature, experienced guys, and that's one of the strengths of their team.
Right. Right. So, and I don't think Moore had a great game. Did they run the ball? I mean, that's another thing too. So now you lost Davison for this game, who is really come on. But I mean, next man up. That's what they keep saying. Next man up. That's what the guys are saying. Next man up. And Whittington and and Sadiq did not. They didn't throw a lot of balls to Sadiq against Texas Tech. What do you have? 2 catches, if I'm correct. He
He was
didn't
a little
have.
bit he was a little banged up in that game. So he was, playing hurt and really didn't have his best game. They had 3 running backs average more than 5 yards a carry against the Hoosiers, but they gave up on the run early, and the sack yardage really damaged their total. The 2 guys they have left for this game, Noah Whittington and De'Aaron Hale, are good backs. I mean, Whittington has 853 yards this season with 6 touchdowns. He's averaging 6.4 yards a carry. Hill is primarily a change of pace outside type runner, tremendous speed. He's averaging over 8 yards a carry. So they've got good explosive. It's just a matter if they get the job done up front.
Yeah, because you just make me think. First of all, no weather problems. It's in right. It's at the Atlanta, right? It's in Atlanta in a dome, turf, which takes away. I mean, it could be. That's what I feel like the game could be really fast. And I think Signetti is a very good. I'm not taking anything away from Dan Lanning, but but you know what? You know what I kind of feel like? I feel like Mendoza hasn't had a really bad game this year, and I feel like this could be. He's been playing and he's been playing better every week. I feel like you get a turnover early, get some disruption. Everybody's picking now Indiana to win the championship. They're already like they're putting out that which makes me think that it might not happen because tonight's game's kind of crazy to me. I didn't expect Ole Miss to beat Georgia. That was a crazy game, and the upset of all upsets, Miami just played like hard nosed football. I mean, they had the lead. Second half, they held on to it and they made plays when they had to make plays. That's what I feel like you guys can do. You use up a lot of clock, have some long drives, and don't give, what I always think of? I always think of the Giants Bills Super Bowl with Thurman Thomas, the first one for the Bills, which I thought the Bills should have won. But the Giants said, we'll let them get their yards. They didn't give them the ball enough. So they had to, then they just did these long, now that's not Oregon football, but I'm just saying keep the ball away a little bit. You never know. Get him out of rhythm. It's kind of get him out of the rhythm tomorrow, maybe. I mean, Friday.
And to do that, one really important key is they've got to get Fernando Mendoza off his spot. He is
Yes.
very much a rhythm timing type of quarterback, relies heavily on the RPO game. And, he to compete in the game, to create some disruption up front, get some inside pressure from Amari Washington and Bear Alexander, and get him off his spot. And then once they do, they've got to contain him because he's a really good runner. In the first game, he hurt them with 6 rushes for I think around 52 yards. He was really effective. He had one rush, 14 yards for a first down. So they've got to somehow get Mendoza a little bit out of his rhythm because he is an assassin when he's in rhythm.
And you just made me think. I still remember when 2007, the 18-0 Pats, the Giants just kept hitting Brady. Just hit him. Doesn't matter. Just keep and that's what everybody was wondering. Like, how will he react? Well, he lost the game. That was the first time I ever saw him look mortal. And I think the same thing with Mendoza, who is the nicest kid in the world. He looks like he looks like he should be on Mayberry Street. He looks like just like an all shucks kind of guy. And that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Hit him, rattle him, get him out of his yeah, like you said, get him out of his rhythm. And yeah, I think it's so Indiana is a 3.5-point favorite right now. So which means nothing.
That's down from 4 points at the open. So it's remained close, even with the injuries on both sides. It's
Yeah. No, it
not trying to create an image. That's him. That's what he
100%.
is. He talked today about how his team likes to play ping pong and Monopoly. That's what they do for fun. And he's not making this stuff up. He's not trying to be a goody goody. He's just that guy.
Yeah, I don't think they're playing Monopoly and ping pong. Well, ping pong maybe in the NFL. I'm curious where he's gonna end up too. Even with Dante. What did I see? Stephen A. Smith said that Dante Moore should not, if the Jets are gonna take him, he shouldn't go. He should say I'm not going and stay in school. Which you know what? I'm a Jets fan and I don't disagree with it. I don't know if I feel like him going to the Jets, every quarterback the Jets have gotten in the last, I mean, Darnold, Sanchez, Zach Wilson, the list goes on, and everybody, they turn to crap. They turn to crap, and then they have to go somewhere else. And if anybody showed me something, it's Darnold, who's on Jets, Panthers, Niners, Minnesota, Seattle. I mean, he's on his fifth damn team. So I worry about
And
Dante.
he's playing great.
What? Yeah, he's playing great. He's playing great. Right, he's playing great.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I am concerned about this game because I feel Indiana has looked so good. And Signetti, you know what I noticed that not a lot of people talked about? When Signetti came out of the bus for the game against Bama, he was wearing the year before's college football playoff sweater, which I think he did on purpose. He was pissed about how last year went. And Signetti's not like, he's like Saban. I think Saban smile. They win the championship. He smiles. He says he gives it like 6 hours and he's recruiting. Like that's the Signetti. He loves the grind. He like Lanning too, but Lanning has a little more expression. But Signetti's like serious, which I find he's like old school coaching. You know?
He's got great coordinators,
Yes.
and he is just so good at breaking down film, teaching his players to execute and be consistent. I have total respect for that program and the way that they've used the portal to rise so quickly. When so many teams are making excuses and saying, well, it's a 5-year program to rebuild or whatever, he takes a team that is, been in the basement for 40, 50 years. And in
Right.
two
Right.
seasons, he's made them the number one team in college football. It's crazy.
68. They hadn't been to a Rose Bowl since 68. So I heard Cubans giving a lot of money. They got that kid Nick Marsh out of Michigan State for next year. They got Hoover, who was the TCU quarterback. They blew out UNCO in the opening game this year. He's reloading. He got a kid. He's gotten some very good portal kids. Now I haven't heard anything. Has Oregon picked up anybody in the portal? I know that you said a lot of guys leaving. If they picked up anybody,
They've been really quiet so far. And I think it's a twofold strategy. One thing is that they're focusing on retaining the players they have. Already, Bear Alexander and Pancho Lalaulu have re-upped for next year, and Tatum Tuioti, Mateo, Dante Moore, several other of their key players, are facing that decision about whether to go on to the next level or enter the portal. But I think they're really focusing on retaining those guys and
okay.
keeping the core of this roster together. And given all the talent they've assembled, that's smart for them. In the portal so far, their only acquisitions have been a long snapper, a field goal kicker, and a punter. So they're taking
Oh,
care of fundamentals and special teams thus far. They're in line for a high profile running back, and the name hasn't surfaced. It's on some of the message boards and some of the subscription sites, but they're working on adding another running back for next season.
and Hughes is going. So Hughes missed the whole season, and he's going to Houston, which what a mess. I could, especially now. Now, I don't know what happened with him. He was so hyped coming in. I know they paid him to come and doesn't even make a mark this year, and then he's gone. That was a whole weird scenario there. Something must have happened that
I,
he.
yeah, it hasn't come up publicly, but yeah, you just feel that something uh, went a little awry there. Obviously, Davison, Hill, and Whittington beat him out. That was part of it. And I think he struggled a little bit to adapt to the Oregon offensive style and playbook. But Houston's a good fit for him. It's a kind of a wide open attack, and he'll probably do well in the Big 12. It's strange. They've had so many hits in the transfer portal. I mean, they've really been way above the line. If you think about Emmanuel Pregnon or Malik Benson or Dylan Thieneman or Jaden Kennedy, they've really had some exceptional finds in the portal. And going back, Christian Gonzalez, Bo Nix, Derek Harmon, they've done terrific as far as augmenting their roster. They focus on high school recruiting and do a great job with that. And then they'll go out and get 10 or 11 guys who just fit the program and fit the scheme. And to this point, they've done really good. They've been so far in this cycle, they've been kind of quiet. Already over 4,000 kids in the portal. That's just insane.
Yeah. You know what you just made me think of? Dylan Raiola has not mentioned all these quarterbacks are going. I think Raiola knows that Moore's not staying and he's going to Oregon. I think he knows because I said, wow, I hear all these quarterbacks and Raiola very quiet, nothing. And I think everybody knows come to Oregon and get a shot, you know? That I feel like he's a guy that Oregon is circling the wagons for.
It'd be interesting to see how that plays out, JD. Obviously, we'll know about more in another week to 10 days. With Rayola, he could go the same route that Dante Moore did. He's got to be ready a year to reset, to learn the system, prove his technique with an eye to taking over after Moore leaves next year. I'm not saying that will happen, but it's a possibility that's open to him. And you're right, with so um, at 28% RPOs, and he's really accurate. So he's a perfect fit for that Indiana system.
Oh, Hoover. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. We got a little cut off. We got froze for a second. Hoover, you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Josh Hoover in
Yeah.
Indiana. That's a great landing
Oh,
spot for him.
I watched him play. He's just very efficient. That's what I think. That's what I saw with Miami against Ohio State. Beck didn't push, didn't go for bet, and he got some great plays. I mean, listen, they even had even that game sloppy. Miami, what's his name? The freshman had a ball bounce back up to him. I forget the what was his who? Oh, I'm blanking on his name. Uh he's their like wide receiver returner, and he had a ball that I thought that I was so happy Ohio State lost. I got to be honest with you. I uh I thought Sane didn't better second half, but I thought the first half, and they don't have a kicker. It's crazy when you don't have a kicker there, and you got Sappington at least. At least you got Sappington right there, you know. Oh,
Yeah,
Corley, Malachi.
they've
Is it
got
Corley? Yeah, that's his name. What were we gonna say?
forgive me. Indiana lost a kicker. He's doubtful for the game.
Oh, kick returner. Kick returner.
No, field goal kicker.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, they've got on the injury report. He's doubtful. He hit a 58 yarder in the first game against Oregon. So, but he's not going to play.
Really? So listen, Ohio State's kicker missed. Oh, didn't have a great kicker this year. And you guys have what Sappington, right? I mean, he had a good game against Texas Tech, outdoor game too. I mean, it is going to be great conditions. I mean, you should be able to have a little. So he's out. See, I would do the report. I didn't see that, but that's why I have Dale here because Dale catches everything. Yeah, Dale
Yeah,
catches everything.
Sappington's been great for the Ducks. He hit a 50 yarder against Texas Tech. Got him on the board with their first points. And that always lifts the team up when the kicker converts a long kick like that. Gives the team a lot of confidence. You know, you have that going for you. And he had hit 12 in a row before he missed one in the second half. But he's been really reliable for Oregon and made some big kicks to help them win games.
Do you, if you had to look through the team, it was interesting. One of the guys said that maybe it was one of the, I forget who said it. He said that every man has to step up. Who oh crap, I can't remember who I saw. Oh yeah, Sadiq said it. Next man up mentality. There's always a guy who has the game, who steps up. Is there anybody I could see Whittington or even De'Aaron Hill, right? It's De'Aaron Hill, have a game against Indiana. I feel one of the guys is going to have a hell of a game. And it would be crazy if Harris comes in and they're like, and Harris is like, maybe I should stay now. He's like, because he can rescind it. Can he rescind it? Or he has to go in? Is he in?
Yeah, he can re-up with Oregon. You know, he can. He's in the portal. It doesn't mean he to leave. And
It just,
wouldn't that be a
yeah.
great story? You know, if he came in and rushed, 15 times for 85 yards and a couple scores.
And like,
I
yeah,
think
you know what? I kind of, I kind of like it here.
yeah, that'd be one of those classic stories. And I think they'll rely on him at the goal line, perhaps, and in short yardage because he's bigger. But Whittington is a physical back. I don't know if you saw it, but last year against Illinois, he had a game where he just trucked an Illinois safety at the goal line and just ran him over. So he has the ability to be his own blocker, and he's a good tough runner with good vision. If he
And,
has
and
some,
what? But no, what were you saying? No.
if he has something that you'd like to see him maybe improve a little bit is stepping out of tackles. You know,
Right.
Noah tends to be a guy who's occasionally brought down by an ankle or a foot, and the really elite runners somehow just step out of those.
Right, right. He gets once they get him, he's down. Yeah, right. The elite ones make it look like, yeah, they're like, yeah, get that extra, even 2-3 yards, or you're just like, wow. And but wait, who was wasn't there an Oregon running back they had him behind the line this year? Wasn't that Whittington? And then, or was it Davison who they had him by the line? He just went around and just kept going, like he kept his legs. Was it? I thought somebody on one of the games we talked about.
It was Minnesota. And yeah, he was in a scrum about 3
Right,
yards past the line of scrimmage and somehow kept his legs churning, worked his way out of it, and scored a touchdown. He almost ruined it by bobbling the ball at the goal line. He
right,
went,
right.
yeah,
Yes. Ugh. And that's
but
what I
it was
watch
a
every time
great
when a guy's
run.
going to. Yeah, yeah, great run. But that's what I
Yeah,
worry about. I go, get rid of the ball, do whatever you want, but just cross the goal line. There's no need to do anything crazy. Yeah, and you have the Corian Moore and Gary Bryant Jr. are both healthy, so the receivers are healthy. I mean, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, what happened with the snaps? 3 bad snaps in the game against Texas Tech too. Just some mate,
I think
just
it's a little bit like uh, when a pitcher loses control of the ball and hits the mascot, like
right,
in Bull Durham.
right,
The get kind of gets in his head a little bit, and you start kind of maybe concentrating too hard. And I think Lala'ulu had a trouble with a snap or two, and then it was in his head, and he made 2 or 3 that were bad. The other thing was you had to give Texas Tech credit; their defensive line was creating so many problems with him,
so many, right,
and they used a nose tackle far more often than they'd shown on film. So he had a guy right over his his head, who's doing a great job and beating him off the ball, and so he starts to rush the snap a little bit. And I'm sure they've done some corrections and worked on his technique during the week. Hopefully, it won't be an issue in this one.
does 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 Indiana have? I mean, Bailey is a wrecker. I don't know if it does. Indiana is more of a team defense. Do they have a guy like that can cause havoc? As much? Bailey is a problem. I mean, he was phenomenal in that game. I thought
He
because I don't know
was.
if he was.
He made himself some money in that game, JD.
Oh, he
I mean,
did. Yes, he
he
did.
was he was a physical beast, and Alex Harkey had a lot of trouble with him. Now with the Hoosiers, the real strength of their team, as I look at them and watch them, is that their linebacker group. Those guys are just Aiden Fisher and the rest of those linebackers are just physical and tough and mobile and they run a really tricky defense. You never know where the pressure is coming from, and their two inside linebackers combined for 26 tackles in the first game and 3.5 sacks. They were just
Wow.
reckless. It's kind of
Wow.
interesting. Indiana's injury problem is at defensive end. Two of their Stephen Daly, their best defensive end, who led the Big Ten with 19 tackles for loss, is out
Right.
this game, and they have an
Because
injury
of
on
it.
the other side.
Now, didn't Daly hurt himself after the Big Ten championship game? He jumped up to high five a fan, fell down, and I was
Yeah,
like, "You got to be kidding me!" Yeah, I saw it happen. And you saw his knee jerk, and you were like, "Oh, he's done." That's crazy, right? So they lost him. Yeah,
yeah. And the guy on the other side is injured as well. So their two starting defensive ends are out. But you made a really good point. That it's a team defense with the discipline, execution, and technique. They beat you that way. It isn't about one individual guy.
right, right. Yeah, I just feel like I think Sadiq's gonna have a better game. I think Sadiq's gonna have to be in the offense, and I think he's the kind of guy who you can't cover. He's just so big and athletic that I feel like and that's the thing. Whenever you see a linebacker on him, you're like, well, he's gonna outrun that line. And I know but that's the thing with him. He's that fast and athletic. Yeah, I want a good game. I just pray that it's not up. That's what disappointed the blowouts. There weren't a lot of the best game was the best game that day was the night game. But listen, or that was a weird, and like you said, Oregon playing at really 9 o'clock local time. It was a weird start for a game. Everything just felt off. The weather was fine, but it just never got going. And Lanning even listen. I said I'll take a 23-0 win, even with all the mistakes over a loss, and they still won the guy. I mean, that Texas Tech quarterback, I felt terrible for him, but he was so off. Like they couldn't get anything going. You just saw like came to the sideline, coaches like, yeah, I mean, I don't, it's not working. Yeah,
Yeah, they did a really great job of creating pressure on him. It's interesting, Lanning in the off season, he's constantly, like you said, he's a student of the game. And one of the things he did this offseason was he studied teams that did well in the final four in men's basketball in March Madness to see how they peaked at the right time. And everything he's done this year has been with the goal in mind of peaking in January and playing your
and not
best football when it matters most.
right.
Um,
That's a
so we'll
that's
see.
really that's what he did. He was watching, so he was really trying to find out a system, because that's what Jordan always said. He trained that he peaked for playoff time. He didn't want to peak. He wanted to start peaking once the season ended, and he trained that way to keep his body going and stay fresh for the. And I think that's a fantastic. Listen, I think I tell everybody that ever since I started, I'm an Oregon fan, but I'm even more of an Oregon fan. I mean, I always liked the program, but since I talked to you, just the way Lanning is running. And I tell everybody, you know what? Let's not get worried about this year. You're looking. We're trying to keep this going. This isn't a one and done kind of thing. Listen. Last year you didn't win a playoff game. This year you won a playoff game. You hopefully win another one. But you know that the goal in mind is that keep this going and keep getting better and better. So I feel like they're on the right track. I would say. So
One of the things you have to do to stay on that right track is to react properly to change. college football is changing so rapidly
Yeah.
with the influence of NIL and the portal. The prices are through the roof. Quarterbacks are being paid $4 million. Offensive tackles are being paid $1 to $2 million. Everything is changing before our eyes, and with 4,000 players becoming free agents at all three levels, it's closer to 9,000. Uh,
Right.
it's insane the rapidity of change, and you wonder also down the road 2 or 3 years, are some of these fan bases going to develop fatigue around investing enormous amounts of money in a roster or a program, and maybe in a lot of cases it's not going to work out.
Right.
How long can they go to the well, and how many programs have a billionaire donor like Mark Cuban to underwrite this thing?
Or Phil Knight. Or Phil Knight. You're right, Phil
Or
Knight.
Phil Knight.
But even
Sure.
that, but you even said, you know what? It's like the NFL draft. How many guys become that quarterback? More guys become busts. You're putting money on these guys, and a quarterback comes in. It's a brand new system. He's got to meld with mold with the team with Mendoza did. Mendoza did this year, but Dante Moore came in. Sadly, I think it really helped Moore sit in that year, like kind of Dylan Gabriel's backup, and watch the system. And he took off running. You know, I agree with Oregon. What are you going to want, a new quarterback every year? You kind of want a guy to come in and he's going to play for 4 years or 3 years or whatever. And,
Yeah.
and you keep recruiting these quarterbacks who aren't even playing. So they go to a school. They were the highest rated. You hear every year kids that were recruited, and they're at a new school. And you can't go to 4 years. You can't be at four schools. I'm sorry. Life is about adversity. And you know what? The first sign of trouble comes, I'm running. You can't run all the time. And as you said, as a fan base, it would tick me off. I mean, really, I got to pay you to come back? I just it's a little ridiculous. Like you said, 9,000, 4,000 in D1 transfer, 4,000 kids, and a lot of them are going to be misses. Like Hughes came. Hughes didn't even couldn't even break the starting lineup. Look at that's a perfect example right there. You just don't know. And then Benson turns out to be the best decision he made was he came. He'd been right. He hadn't been great at where was he before Benson?
He was at Alabama and Florida
Right.
State, and he was
And did
just a role
nothing.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
about 24 catches a year. He
And
didn't
you know
really
what?
spark them.
Or he saw, okay, Malik, I'm talking to myself. Okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to go play in the next level? Because no one wants this now. This is my put up or shut up. I'm here. Maybe he didn't take all the coaching. Maybe he didn't work hard enough. He got here and he goes, what do I need to do? And that's what it's separate. Not everybody does it. And he did it. And I respect so much a guy like him coming in and really, and did you expect the numbers he put up? I mean, you were hoping for something, but I mean, he
No.
outplayed, right?
Oh, definitely. He's been an absolute factor for the Ducks down the stretch. Made a lot of big plays, big catches, so fluid. And looking at his season, in the spring game, he had a couple of drops. I thought that, this kid maybe he's not going to make it. He had great speed. He was a 10-4 sprinter in high school, but he really, really blossomed. And it's a credit to him and a credit to the evaluation process that they would single this guy out. Out of all those receivers that were in the portal, as a as somebody with that kind of potential. I Looking at the big picture, I really think they need some guardrails on the thing. You know, they
Yeah.
need they need some kind of stability and continuity. It's just not going to work for every player to be a free agent every year.
Right.
Team fans want to know who's on their team. I
Right.
would like to see them have a collective bargaining agreement of some kind, and I'd like to see maybe a system where a player signs a 2 or 3 year contract.
And if you
You know,
break it, you can't, you break it, you pay the money back or something. Like that's like,
yeah.
there's a buyout for coaches. You want to leave, that's right. Georgia was suing a kid who went to crap. I forget where he went. He didn't go to Texas Tech, and he's transferring out of that school this year. Wherever he went, he's transferring out this year. And he got
Oh no.
390,000. They want, and they're like, oh, wasn't that? I'm like, dude, you can't just keep running. And why would you leave Georgia? I would think you have top. You have, first of all, Kirby Smart's a hell of a coach. He sends guys to the NFL. What was wrong there? Were you not getting a playoff time? Was it, or someone else enticed you with more money? Well, I'd rather play on a Georgia team and a very good Georgia team than go to a team that's not playing as well. And like you said, every year, so your quarterback has a good year. He goes, "Well, I need more money to come back." I'm like, what? What? I mean, it's ridiculous. You have to rebuy.
And you'd like to see guys as you were saying earlier, play through a little bit of adversity, commit to being developed,
Right,
not just, well, I'm going to go somewhere else.
right,
And
and
and the really sad part of this, JD, is that in a lot of cases, guys portal their way out of college football. There
right.
aren't an unlimited number of spots left for them, and a lot of them don't get another deal, and they wind up either playing for school or dropping out of school.
And Patino I don't mean to change the subject of sport wise, but Patino with St. John's only wants portal guys. He doesn't want to have to deal with an 18-year-old where it works and then it backfires because you're bringing in all guys who've been playing other systems. You're not sure if they're going to mesh. And I feel also it's affecting kids out of high school. So they're going to be like, well, I don't want this 18-year-old kid. I could get a 22-year-old quarterback and come
Yeah.
in and, you know, it's crazy. It's just, I mean, every year, I can't even keep track of all the players. I get the things and I'm like, do I even talk about this? I talk about some that are interesting. What school was it? TCU. So a Harvard quarterback's going to play at a Big 12 school. I'm thinking, was he
Crazy.
that good at? Yeah, one of the kids at Harvard is
Wow.
he transferred it might even be TCU. It's one school out west, and he's transferring to. I just saw a kid who was the D2. I think it's the Harlan Trophy. A quarterback named Stokes, West Florida. He's up for the D2 Heisman. He's gonna Memphis. So this kid was destroying teams in D2. He's gonna go play FBS for Memphis. And I'm curious, will it work out? Because that's a big jump. I think that's a huge jump. And James Madison, 11 starters left that team this year. They've already lost 11 starters.
It's the same. Alonzo Barnett moved on.
Yes,
The
UCF.
running back moved on. It's, when you get situations like that where there's absolutely no continuity and no
Right,
identity,
right.
how long before, how long is FCS football going to survive all that? It's crazy.
Well, it will survive because all the kids that bomb out in FBS are going to go play at FCS to realize, I didn't get paid the money, and I'm going to. To me, if I was an athlete, I'd rather play. I don't understand why these 5 stars all go to Bama because you're not going to. There's 7 to 10 guys of you there. I'd rather go to a program where I know, and get an upstart, and then you know what? You're a god there. You make connections, all that stuff. You build a base. You're not building a base if you're going year to year to a different school. You're not making connections. You're not making anything. And I know it's a business decision, but it's not always a smart business decision. And that's what I feel. Like you said, that Dante Moore has a very good family around him. And I want him to stay, but I think the money's too much. I just think it's too much. And it's really a weak. It's him and Mendoza. Ty Simpson's not that good. Nussmeier from LSU. He's not going to go. And there are so many teams that are desperate for a quarterback right now. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. I don't like the Chargers' chances, and Herbert is 0-2 in playoff games. Do you like the Chargers' chances against the Pats? I do not like their chances.
No, their offensive line is a wreck. He's been carrying that team all year long. I mean, you'll see clip after clip where he's just getting beat up and somehow managed to stay on his feet and complete a pass. And he can't do that through the playoffs.
No.
I don't see them. And the critics and the pundits and the naysayers, they'll savage him after this. Say, well, he's never won a playoff game.
Right.
Well,
I know.
He's never had an offensive line.
Do you know how many offensive line combinations he's had this year? How many different offensive line combinations? 32.
Oh,
32.
Yeah.
I think they had a Bobby, and I'm blanking on his name. There was a guy who was in the Giants 10 years ago that they had him at left tackle in the last couple of weeks. They had a guy, yeah.
Yeah. he lost his tackles early in the year,
Yes.
Slater and
Alton
Alt.
Slater. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and they were really good, but they
Very good.
didn't make it through the season so constantly. It's a wonder that he has. I mean, he's played with a broken hand. The guy couldn't have shown more courage or heart or determination or ability. He just doesn't have the cast around him to stay in the hunt. Bo Nix, on the other hand, I think he's got a real shot at winning it all just because of the great
The
defense, good
defense. Yes.
organization. Yeah.
I'm curious who they're going to play the second. I'm taking all upsets. I'm taking Bills over the Jags. I like the Bears over the Packers. I like the Niners to come in and beat the Eagles because I feel like the Eagles have been too inconsistent. And what's the other game? Oh, and I like the Steelers the Texans to come in crappy weather. CJ Stroud in the cold, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a day, and they'll eke one out. And the Steelers will just keep winning games. Just keep winning. I mean, everyone wants Tomlin gone, and meanwhile, every year they get to the playoffs or they win. They have a winning record every year. I think it's. I don't like the Monday night games, but that's what bothers me when you were talking about the college football playoff. NFL does not care about college. They're not working in unison. They will destroy. They should work together. Put the games on and put the NFL games after. But I don't understand. It's NFL just wants to eat everything up, and it really ticks me off. I think that's why
Yeah.
at least the games are. Yeah, at least you got the games tonight. And they're standalones for the semis. But you know,
There's so much greed, and it's so crazy because,
yes,
you know, the NFL gets a free feeder program, right? They don't have to pay for a farm system. College
no,
football takes care of that for them. You think there would be some kind of cooperation, but the real solution is for the college football to play their playoffs in December on 4 straight Saturdays and leave January to the NFL.
yeah, yeah. I just feel like why do you have to be such a pig? I mean, you guys get all the money. It's $1 billion industry. There's something to be said about let them have their day. NFL doesn't care. I mean, really, we need playoff games Saturday, Sunday, and we need a Monday night playoff game because they know they don't care. We'll put it any day, any time, and they'll watch it, and they have you. And I feel like yeah, and after they play the semifinals, then it's enough. Well, at least it's only 10 days, right? It's about 10 days to the championship game. Back in Miami, back outside. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I want.
January 19th on a Monday
19th
night.
Monday
Yeah.
night, which is crazy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
How? What were we gonna say? I didn't mean to cut you
I was
off.
just going to say, as Washington and USC fans are fond of reminding Oregon fans, Oregon's never won a national championship. 133 years of futility.
Wait, who's never won a national championship? Washington.
The Ducks, the Ducks have never won a national
Right.
championship.
No, they have not.
And Indiana, I think, has one claimed title, but they've
But I
never
think it's
won.
right. They
Yeah.
never won one. And Ole Miss won in '60, and Miami won in 2001. Right, 2001, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
But
it'll be a new champion, and that's fun. I got to give college football credit for all the changes and upheaval. I mean, this is the most fun playoff because you got four new teams. It's not Alabama and Georgia and Clemson all over again. It's four new teams with a chance to make their own history, and that part of it is fun.
and they all worked under Nick Saban. All four coaches. How crazy
Isn't
is
that
that?
amazing?
Isn't
Yeah,
that amazing? All four
it
coaches
is.
worked under Saban. I watched a little bit of I wanted to ask you quickly about men's and women's basketball. Men's not having a good year. Women okay,
The
both.
women just had a huge win over USC, number 21 USC in Los Angeles. They were down by 6 with about 5 minutes to play, went on a 14-0 run to end the game. Ari Long hit 3 3-pointers down the stretch, and the Ducks won in USC. Big win for the program, and that brings Kelly Graves and his women's team to 14-3 on the year.
Wow. Okay, and the men's team.
The men's team has been an abject disaster. They've had injury problems. Biddle was out for a while. Jackson Shellstad is out again, this time with a hand injury. And they just have been out. They lost to Rutgers the other night, 88-85 in overtime, and it just has not come together for them. Although Wei Lin, their Chinese guard, had his best game and hit some shots, so maybe they'll find something down the stretch. Altman has many times, but this team looks like a lost year. They look NIT bound at best.
Yeah, and same things happen in college basketball. The transfer portal. All these kids. I mean, you can't keep track. Yeah, I feel like it's gotten out of control. I agree with you 100%. And there should be some adversity, and the fans want to be able. I think that's what a lot of people say now. He goes. I was talking to somebody about a college. He goes, "Yeah, I can't relate. I don't know who the players anymore. Every year I have to learn who the new players are." And I said, "Yeah, there's something to be said about that. I mean, I don't want every year I'm going to worry about it. Oh, I got to re-sign this quarterback. I was shocked. I thought Bryce Underwood was leaving Michigan. I guarantee they gave him more money to stay, which he shouldn't have because he didn't play a great year. Arch Manning went back. What I thought was amazing, Arch Manning's roommate, Parker Livingstone, went to Oklahoma because he said, they wanted him to stay, and it was his choice. But I think he didn't get enough money to stay, and he got more money. But dude, why would you? I was like, you're going to your bitter rival, and Emmanuel Acho was like, it was like treason, and that's what we always. I said that's like a Michigan UNC player going to Duke, like.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you saw the Washington quarterback. They're not letting him go. Right. You saw that happen. Williams, right. Is that who it was the quarterback for? That's what I
Yeah,
wanted to
Demond
talk to. Yeah,
Williams, craziest story of all, re-signs with the Huskies on January 2nd. Another school reaches out to him and he wants to enter the portal and
right,
announced it during it was really an ugly situation. He
right.
announced it on Instagram without talking to his coach or his teammates. They were all at a memorial service for a
For
soccer player who died, unfortunately.
the female
And
soccer. Yeah, right.
yeah, and he comes out with this announcement that he's leaving. It really left a bad taste in Washington fans' mouths, and I don't blame him. I mean, it's really unfortunate.
It is, and you saw what happens with Kiffin's. Kiffin was letting him stay, but he said for one game, and then he wants him. It's like, you know what? It's ridiculous. You started the season. I know you got another job, but you finished the season with the team you started with. You don't just leave. And Ole Miss is like Joe Judge said it's been more hectic. And I used to live next to Aaron Hernandez. That's what he said. It was more hectic now than when he lived next to Aaron Hernandez. And I was like, oh, all right. But that's what I feel like to the players. They're busting their butts. And your coaches are like Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is a piece of garbage. I can't stand him. I really do. I see his true colors always come out. He takes the better job. He's always looking for the next job, and I feel bad for Ole Miss. I really do. And then Chambliss, I think he has to go in the draft because he can't get another year of eligibility. So that's going to be a crazy game tonight. I think tonight's going to be a kind of a crazy game. I don't know. You know,
Yeah, Miami's a 3-point favorite. I think they're more physical on defense and have some, Ruben Bain. They've got just a lot of disruptive athletic talent, and I think they'll be able to shut down Chambliss a little bit. Although he's amazing,
right?
he's a magician. You know,
He is. They have
yeah,
him. So I thought we should do a show next week, regardless what happens.
yeah.
But
I may be wearing all black, but I'd be happy
no,
to
come on, come
visit with
on,
you.
come on. Yeah, I'm psyched for tomorrow night. I'm already getting like, woo. I'm like, all right. I thought it was tonight, but I was like, all right. And how now? You're still training with the job,
Yeah, that's been fun. It's fun to work at the gym. People come in, I say hi to them and, encourage them a little bit. And, I don't mind the cleaning and polishing and all that. The difficult part has been learning the computer. That's going to
Okay.
take me a while. I mean, I know how to use a computer, but you've got all these systems and procedures and so forth, and I got to get used to those. But it's been great. It's a good job for a retired guy because it
That's what I was
gets
going
you
to
out
say. It's a good
talking to
job.
people.
It
You
gets you out
know,
of the house.
It
Structure. It
definitely
gives you.
does, and it gets me to the gym. I work out every day when I punch out.
Now, what are your hours going to be there? Is it
I
overnight?
Yeah, it's weird. I got the overnight shift. I'm working from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, and
And you
I
so
just
you go
finished.
right. Yeah, you just what? I'm sorry, I didn't
I
mean to.
just finished training, so now I'll start my regular shift.
What days are you going to work there? How many days a week are they giving you?
I work Sunday night through Thursday, so it's perfect for college football and college sports.
Okay. All right. Wow. So is it crowded at that time? There are people coming in?
No,
That
I
many
don't think
people?
so. I mean, I'll be dusting the baseboards and stuff like that, but
And
we're
yeah,
open. We're open 24 hours, so it makes it fun to, you know.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering how many people come in. I mean, everybody coming in to work out 3 o'clock in the mornings that's a little. Yeah, that's
To me, the people I really respect are the early risers that come in and work at 5 a.m. before they go to work. I mean,
right.
I could not do that. I mean, at that time in the morning, I'm not even moving well, but there are guys and gals who do that every morning, 5 a.m. before they go to work.
Yeah, I would
That's
rather work out.
discipline.
Yeah, yeah. That's not you. You work. You're a night workout person if you work out, or
Or
day,
in
or
the
more time.
afternoon,
Okay.
but early in the morning, driving to the gym in the cold and rain and taking a shower before you go to work and hopefully taking a shower before you go to work. I mean, that is some real dedication.
So I have a friend I went to grad school with. I trained, and today, so the cleaning woman comes at 8:30 on a Thursday. So today's game, I did 6.2 miles walking today while I was training him. I just kept walking, and I looked at my watch. I was
Dang.
like, yeah, and then I came on. I passed out, but I was good for after I was like, my feet are killing me, my back. I was like, I was walking. He goes, how long are you walking? I go, I got 5 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. I didn't realize I did 6 miles. I'm like, that's what people do in a week. Yeah,
Man, that,
yeah,
that's
that's what I
that's
did.
a good workout by itself.
I agree. I agree. All right, so we'll shoot for a day. Yeah, I guess we should shoot for later in the week next week
I
because you.
any time is fine. Whenever you've got a spot, I'd be happy to fill it because
I will.
I'm available
Oh,
during the day.
okay.
I
All
sleep
right.
when I'm
Well,
dead.
that's what I say too. Yeah, I'll sleep. Yeah, I mean, I don't get enough sleep anyway. So let's go Ducks. What do we say? I don't like doing. What do we think? So let's say Ducks. I'm going to go 28-24 Ducks. That's my score. 28-24 Ducks.
That's a
All right.
good score. I can see the game going that way. To make it turn out that way, they're going to have a great game from their offensive line, uh, a really strong effort from that team of running backs, and Dante Moore is going to have to be poised and handle the
I
pressure.
But you know what? He did throw. He threw passes. 8 different receivers caught balls against Texas Tech, so he was getting the ball around. I just feel like I need Sadiq to have a game. I think Sadiq's going to have a game. I think Sadiq's going to have a game. So listen, I would love them to win and just keep going. Yeah, it would be great. It would be great. So and it doesn't matter. We'll keep it going. But yeah, next week hopefully we'll be still. I got my duck. I'm represented. So, but I appreciate your time and yeah, happy and healthy New Year to you and your wife and your family and everything. And thanks for coming on today. All right.
Thank you, JD. It's great to talk to you anytime.
All right, Dale. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.